The question was simple, almost playful, the kind people ask without thinking too deeply. But when he answered, the entire room felt different. His voice didn't shake. His eyes didn't look for sympathy. He just told the truth. And that truth broke her heart in the most unexpected way. Sometimes we walk past quiet heroes every single day and never realize the weight they're carrying. This is a story about one of those heroes and how a single moment of kindness changed more than one life. Before we begin, take a second to support stories that remind us how powerful compassion can be. Subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments on Kind Soul Stories because every act of kindness deserves to be heard. Mark Reynolds was the kind of man people described as reliable. He was always early to work, never complained, and stayed late when projects needed finishing. At 34, he worked as a project coordinator at a mid-sized marketing firm in Chicago. He wore the same style of button-down shirts every day, kept his desk spotless, and avoided office gossip like it was a contagious disease. But what most people didn't know was that Mark's real job started after 5 p.m. That afternoon, the team had just wrapped up a stressful client meeting. Everyone gathered in the break room, grabbing coffee and leftover donuts. The mood was light, relieved laughter bouncing off the walls. Mark stood near the counter, stirring powdered creamer into his cup. His boss, Lauren Mitchell, leaned against the table nearby. Lauren was in her early 40s, sharp, confident, but known for genuinely caring about her employees. She noticed Mark's tired eyes, the faint dark circles he always tried to hide. "Mark," she said with a teasing smile, "I have to ask. You're smart, kind, stable. Why won't you date? Half the office would set you up if you let them." A few coworkers chuckled. Mark gave a small, polite smile. Usually, he'd dodge questions like this, but today, maybe he was just too tired to pretend. He looked down at his coffee before answering. "I don't really have time." Lauren laughed lightly. "No one ever has time. You make time for what matters." Mark nodded slowly. "Exactly." Something in his tone made Lauren straighten. "What do you mean?" Mark took a breath. "My daughter matters." The room grew quieter. "I'm a single dad," he continued gently. "Emma's 6. She has a heart condition. We spend a lot of nights at the hospital. When we're not there, we're at home doing homework, watching cartoons, or building pillow forts. If I'm not working, I'm with her. And when she finally falls asleep, I'm usually too exhausted to think about dating." Lauren's hand slowly lowered from her coffee cup. Mark kept his voice calm. "Not dramatic, just honest. Her mom left when Emma was a baby. Said she couldn't handle the medical stuff. So, it's just us. I'd love to meet someone someday. But right now, Emma needs all of me." The silence in the break room felt heavy, but not uncomfortable. More like everyone was suddenly seeing something they had missed. Lauren swallowed. "You never said anything." Mark shrugged. "Didn't want special treatment. We all have stuff." But Lauren couldn't shake the image forming in her mind. Mark sitting beside a hospital bed at 2 a.m. holding a tiny hand. Mark leaving work early, not for dates or hobbies, but for doctor appointments and pharmacy runs. Mark choosing cartoons over nights out, bedtime stories over social events. And she thought about how she just teased him. "I'm sorry," she said softly. Mark looked surprised. "For what?" "For not realizing how much you carry." He gave a small smile. It's okay. She's worth it. That night, Lauren couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the conversation. She thought about her own life, grown, kids, a quiet house, weekends spent wondering why everything felt a little empty. Meanwhile, the man she'd thought of as quiet and reserved was living a life full of love, sacrifice, and quiet courage. The next morning, Lauren called Mark into her office. He looked nervous, probably wondering if he'd overshared. "Mark," she began. "I've been thinking. You have more sick days than anyone here, but you barely use them. From now on, when Emma has an appointment, you go. No questions, no paperwork hassle." "Lauren, I can't ask for." "You're not asking. I'm offering. And we're adjusting your schedule so you can work from home 2 days a week." Mark blinked. "Why?" "Because kindness shouldn't just be something we talk about in company mission statements," she said. "It should be something we do." His eyes grew glossy, but he quickly looked down. "Thank you." But Lauren didn't stop there. Quietly, without making a big announcement, she spoke to HR and set up a system where employees could donate unused vacation hours to coworkers in need. She also organized a small fund for emergency medical expenses seeded with her own bonus. When Emma had a surprise hospital stay that winter, Mark didn't fall behind on work or worry about losing pay. His team covered meetings. Coworkers sent coloring books and stuffed animals. One even dropped off homemade soup at his apartment. Mark had spent years pouring every ounce of kindness into his daughter. Now kindness was flowing back to him from people who finally understood. Months later, Emma's condition stabilized. One Friday afternoon, Mark stopped by Lauren's office. "Emma wants to meet the lady who gave her daddy more bedtime story time," he said, smiling. Lauren laughed through misty eyes. "I'd be honored." As he walked away, she realized something simple but powerful. We never really know what someone is carrying. A gentle question, a listening ear, a small act of support. Those things can mean everything to someone silently fighting big battles. Kindness isn't always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it's just understanding. Sometimes it's flexibility. Sometimes it's believing someone's quiet "I'm fine" isn't the whole story. And when we choose kindness, we don't just lighten someone else's load. We remind them they're not alone. So the next time you wonder why someone seems distant, tired, or different, pause before you judge. Ask with care. Listen with heart. You might discover a hero you never saw before. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Kind Soul Stories. And also tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your story matters here.